Hey everybody, it's Boardman21, and today's build is going to be the speed-running Shaman using MaeStrolm, Avalanche, and Storm Totem. What we're basically going to be getting out of him is MaeStrolm is going to be an insta-cast so that you can cast it on the run, going to be doing great damage. It's going to increase your dodge, it's going to do some damage, it's going to have a chill and a freeze factor on the enemies. And then we're also going to have Avalanche. That's going to be a cast and forget, so we're going to stop for just a split second, cast it. It's going to follow us everywhere we go, constantly hitting with its boulders. And then we're going to throw down the Storm Totem, and the Storm Totem is basically going to give us a 40% speed boost at all times, and it's going to be zapping things with some lightning and chilling them and doing that such thing. We'll also be getting on hit effects such as Thorn Totem, so we'll be getting 5 of those that'll keep proccing every time it'll have a chance to every time a boulder does a hit or a Storm Totem does a hit, which is really nice. And those two working together is basically going to create a bunch of poison on the ground. We're going to have boulders coming down, and we're going to have MaeStrolm doing great cold damage. Now, the nice thing is you'll pretty much always have 5 to 6 totems active. You'll have your Storm Totem, and you'll have 5 Thorn Totems. With that, using the Shaman tree, you get a huge percentage of spell damage per active totem, you get some defense per active totem, and we'll also get, thanks to a totem, 20% increased cold damage per totem. So those 3 things working together with those 6 totems is basically going to mean that we're speed running all the way through, insta-killing all the trash mobs, and all the rares and everything will follow us to the end unless they just fall too far behind, because we are moving at a massive 125% move speed at sometimes, and we're just flying. With that, we get to the boss, we just circle around the boss and let Avalanche do its thing behind us, and as the totems proc, it'll create poison puddles all over the ground, and between those two and MaeStrolm on the outer edges, it'll just wipe through anything. With that, let's go ahead and get into the build. For skills, we're going to be running MaeStrolm, Summon Thorn Totem, Ice Thorns, Avalanche, and Summon Storm Totem. For MaeStrolm, we're going to be wanting this to obviously get haste. That will increase our movement speed, so we want to have as many casts as possible, and since we're trying to move as fast as possible with it, we do need the insta-cast. So since that's going to increase the mana cost and give us a cooldown, we're going to want a chance to cast it on kill. We're also going to want maximum mana efficiency, and obviously it's a big boost to have it last as long as possible. Instead of going for the chill chance, since we're getting a lot of that out of the Storm Totem and other places, we ended up just going with the dodge rating, which helps with our survivability. So we got 2 points in Turmoil, 3 points in Whirlpool, 4 points in Turbulence, 1 point in Gathering Storm, 1 point in Windswept, 2 points in Sleet-Footed, 4 points in Calm, 2 points in Arctic Blast, and 1 point in Sudden Gale. For Summon Thorn Totem, we once again are going to want this to cast all 5 at the same time, and we're going to want the Poison Clouds at the end of their life, because we're just going to be proccing it on hit and not casting it ourselves. Which also means that the 3 points that we have here in mana efficiency is actually useless. You don't need that. We're going to respec that, and we can go ahead and put those points into more poison chance, which will increase the damage that we're putting out. So we have 3 points in Forested Expanse, 3 points in Eternal Forest, 1 point in Groove Mind, 2 points in Memories of Edera to unlock the Poison Branch, 3 points in Venom Tipped Thorns, 1 point in Lasting Affliction, and 4 points in Rotten Core. We now have 3 more points. We'll put 2 more points in Venom Tipped Thorns for that 100% poison chance, and 1 more point into Lasting Affliction to make the poison duration last a bit longer. For Ice Thorns, we have this completely set up because since we're not casting it ourselves, we're going to want to have it proc on hit. So we have 3 points in Dagger Thorns, 2 points in Bramble Armor, and 4 points in Spell Thorns. So there will be a 40% chance when we get hit to cast it. With that said, we're using it as a shield. So we have 1 point in Anima Affiliate, 1 point in Thorn Shield, 2 points in Bulb Shield to try and recast it, 4 points in Bark Shield for that increased armor and cold protection, and 3 points in Internal Protection to make that buff last as long as possible for a total of 1.9 seconds. For Avalanche, we're using this as a cast and forget, and with that being said, we also want it to do as much damage as possible. In this case, since we're not wanting to be in the melee area, we also took a couple of notes to increase the area that it can hit away from us, the center of the cast. So with that, we have 1 point in Mountain Peak, 1 point in Precision, 1 point in Wild Path to make it no longer channeled, 4 points in Unyielding Storm to make it last for a total of 9.6 seconds on its 10-second cooldown, 1 point in Hailstorm to make it follow us, 3 points in Intensity to increase the fall speed of the Avalanche, 4 points in Stormfront to increase how many boulders fall down while it's actually being cast, and 3 points in explosive impact and 2 points in unpredictability. This will increase how far out it will actually hit and will give it a wider area to hit in. This way you can stay farther away from bosses and still have a chance to hit them. Then we have Storm Totem, and we're using Storm Totem for a move speed boost. It also does a little bit of damage for us, and it does count as a totem, so it gives us the boost of spell damage, cold damage, and defense. For this we have 3 points in Static Field, 4 points in Storm Rider, 1 point in Grounding Conduit, 2 points in High Voltage, 1 point in Overstimulation, 1 point in Steel Plating, 1 point in Blizzard, 4 points in Icicles, and 3 points in Chill to the Bone. When you take Blizzard, this makes it so that it no longer does shock chance, everything is converted to chill chance. With that, since you have a 25% chill chance here, another 60% up here for 85, and over here you have 30% shock chance, which is now converted to chill, that puts you at over 100% chance to chill every second that it's doing its attacks, which means as soon as you put it out there, it's going to be chilling enemies. With that said, Storm Rider gives you 40% increased movement speed if the Storm Totem has shocked an enemy that's now chilled an enemy in the last 4 seconds. Since it's constantly chilling, this means you will have this buff the moment that you put the Storm Totem out and it hits one enemy. That also means that it's going to depend on its survivability, so you do want some minion health, or you do want to give it some sort of ability to stay alive. We did that through the passive trees. We didn't put anything on items, but if you do want to put something on items to make it survive, I would go with either minion dodge or minion health, just to give it enough chance to survive long enough to at least hit one enemy before it dies. For passives, in the Primalist base class, we have 8 points in Primal Strength, 2 points in Natural Attunement, 5 points in Tempestborn, 5 points in Wisdom of the Wild, and 1 point in Rotband to increase that totem health and make it immune to poison. We have 0 points in Beastmaster, 0 points in Druid, and 87 points in Shaman. This is a true, legit, straight Shaman build. With that said, we have 8 points in Shamanic Infusion, 8 points in Rejuvenation Totem, 5 points in Teutonic Fury, 8 points in Silent Protector, 10 points in Windbringer, 5 points in Shattered Heavens, 10 points in Protective Circle to give you all protections per active totem, 7 points in Ruin of Awe, 1 point in Elemental Shrines, 5 points in Swirling MaeStrolm for a chance when we get hit to cast it, 10 points in Sky Armor for that maximum move speed, and 10 points in Ascendant Circle for that increased totem damage per active totem. So we get 40% increased spell damage. We have up to 6 totems. That's 240% spell damage. When we go to items, between all of our idols that we have a 12% and a 20% increased cold damage per active totem, which means through passives, we get that 240% spell damage. Here we get 32 times 6, which I believe is 196% cold damage. So you get 240 spell damage, 196 cold damage. That's a lot of damage for your Blizzard, and it hits pretty hard. I think we crit between 800 and 1000 damage on the boulders. That cold damage also increases, and spell damage increases how much damage MaeStrolm does. So the two working together do great damage. So those are our idols. You want to make sure that you have some idols in here that will have a chance to summon a Thorn totem on hit. We have 2 of them for a 17% chance. That allows us to get a lot of Thorn totems, and the more we proc it, the more they disappear, the more poison clouds you get, which is a lot of poison damage. For items, our staff, not the most optimized. We have minion spell damage on here, which is okay for the totems. It's not really something we wanted, but we did get the massive amount of mana regeneration, and we do have spell critical strike, which really helps with the Avalanche doing crit strikes and for more damage. With that, on our items, we are running set elemental protection and set health increased health regen. This is a health regen kind of defense, so we do have some armor protections, and when we have our totems active, we are going to sit at above 50% defenses and 80% elemental and armor with our 100% glancing blow, but our health regen will sit at about 274. That's our way. We don't have entangling roots or anything else to heal us. And then for armor, we have health regen per second with some glancing blow. And for boots, we wanted the maximum amount of move speed. Make sure you get T5 move speed And the reason for that is our move speed is right now just sitting here 55%. But once Storm Totem gets a hit that's 40%, and once MaeStrolm has 6 stacks, that's another 30%. You'll be sitting at 125% move speed, and all you do is outrun projectiles, outrun your enemies, and you just keep circling them until you kill them with Avalanche. So you don't need a whole lot of defense. Definitely could use some more vitality if you really wanted. But yeah, that's it with this build, and I'm going to go ahead and give you some gameplay.